Hey folks, I believe I am live. Um, just gonna check real quick on my phone. Gonna check. Yeah, there I am. Okay. All right, let's get started. So, I want to talk to you guys today about normalizing success. So, I think like a lot of us normalize struggle. This is something I saw in myself, and this is something I saw and I see all the time in my clients. This idea, and this was actually, this topic was brought up with doing some healing work with a client around um, having a thriving business is hard or making money is hard. And so we normalize in the society. I think that's true. It's culturally true. I think it's collectively true right now because life is a little harder, that we have kind of normalized this idea of struggle. We've normalized that people are struggling, that we're struggling, that the world is in a bad place. And so it's finding that balance between honoring that in many ways that is true. In many ways, there's a lot of people out there who are struggling, and also not indulging in that and not normalizing it to the degree where it becomes the only reality that is feasible for us and for our clients and for our friends, for our family members. Because the truth is, there's also a lot of people out there, a lot of good people out there who are not struggling, who even through a pandemic, even through a very difficult time, have figured out a way to normalize success, to normalize ease, to normalize thriving in their life and in their work, and to normalize inspiration, inspiring others, impacting others, and creating a really great life for themselves. So, by the way, in case you don't know me, I'm Ilsa Comtia there. I'm a therapist, a healer, and I call myself a soulful success coach, but I basically work with purpose-led individuals, and I help them figure out how to really live their purpose and figure out what they're meant to do and what gifts they're meant to bring forward to the world and create a really great life for themselves. And in case you missed the end of this, I always tell people at the end that, hey, if you're ready to move forward, if you're ready to figure out what your purpose is or how to live it, how to show up more fully in it, I offer a free, what I call a free soulful success breakthrough session. And I would love to meet with you. I would love to help you brainstorm what it is that you're really truly meant to do here, what it is that you're truly meant to bring to the world in terms of your unique gift, and how to create a very impactful, inspiring, financially independent lifestyle and business, doing what you love and staying in alignment and staying in authenticity. So, if you want to take me up on that, you can just comment. Let's brainstorm in the comment below, or you can send me a private DM. I'm very approachable and I love to connect with people and kind of figure out where you're at and help you have some breakthroughs. All right, so let's get started talking about normalizing success in our lives. So the way the way my notes are is that I'm first going to tell you some of the things that I had normalized in my past, things that I'm still moving out of. We're always moving out of those things. Um, Things that I've seen my clients who are struggling have normalized. Then I'm going to switch them around. I'm going to tell you what it is that we need to normalize to have ease, to have success, to have flow in our lives. And then I'm going to give you a few different ways to actually do that. So here are some of the things that I have seen in myself in the past, and I've seen in my clients, that that we've normalized effort, we've normalized struggling, we've normalized scarcity, and things that keep us stuck and that keep us from really being in flow, being in alignment, and being in ease in our work. So here are a few of them. I have 6 written down. One is that we've normalized that the idea that making money is difficult, that making money is hard, making money is difficult. We've normalized that for those of us who are spiritual leaders, change makers, healers, a lot of us have normalized that people don't pay for transformation or the work we do. We've normalized that no one has any money right now. And I think this is very true of right now just because of the times that we've in, and it's been true for a lot of 2020. Uh, but we've normalized it to such a degree that we don't actually expect it for people to be able to work with us in some ways. We've normalized that abundance is for the few and the far between, or for people who are very unique and very special in some way, and that it's not for us, essentially. By doing that, by normalizing that abundance is not for everyone, we're kind of putting ourselves out of that. Um, I see a lot of my clients who have normalized the idea that it's okay to just to make just enough money to get by. I don't need much. I just want to make just enough to get by. And then the last one I have in here is that we're normalize being and staying in our comfort zone. So, what I will tell you, if there is a way that being successful is hard, is that I have found in my own experience, in my experience with my clients who've had breakthroughs, is that um, success does require us to step out of our comfort zone. It does require us to find our courage and to do things differently than we normally would. So, a lot of us have normalized being and staying within our comfort zones and not taking any risks, which will keep us stuck. So, all these things keep us from leveling up. They keep us from actually starting to move the needle and create momentum in the life we want to create and to see results. Um, so, here are some of the things that I work with clients and I've worked within myself to normalize to move towards success. I've actually quite I've got 11 of those, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I'm just going to name them. And then we're going to move towards like, how do we do that? How do we normalize those? So, for us to have that soulful success that we desire, we have to normalize that success and abundance happens all the time and it happens everywhere. Not just a few, not over there, but here, everywhere around us, and that it's doable and it's easy. We have to normalize that making money can be easy, that building a business can be easy or effortless or in flow. We have to normalize that people will pay well for transformation, for deep work, and for what we have to offer. And that the people that are people, the people who want to work with us, are already all around us. Because that's something I hear quite a bit from clients is, again, this idea, this normalizing of if there are people who want to work with me, they're not here. They're not around me. There's no one around me who wants to work with me or will pay me to work with me. And that is a falsity. That is absolute, complete BS. Most of us, actually, I would say all of us, have within our reach, within our circle, people who are dying to work with us and would absolutely love to experience our gifts, and they just don't know that we're available. So we have to normalize this idea that people who want what we have to offer, who would love our gifts, are already here around us, waiting for us to step up and step forward. Um, we also have to normalize that success can be in alignment with our values. There's a lot of us who believe that if we were successful, we would pay us a price for it. We would either lose ourselves or lose our freedom, or our family would be affected, or our spirituality would be affected. So we have to normalize that success, making money particularly, can be aligned with being authentic, with being in line with our values, with our hearts. Um, we have to normalize the right for us to make more than enough. to step out of just making the bare minimum and just surviving to thriving. So we have to normalize thriving, and we have to normalize being bold, being courageous, and stepping out of our comfort zones. And that taking risk is okay. We have to normalize that taking risk does not put us in danger, but that taking risk literally means um, honoring our gifts, honoring the life that we're meant to live, um, honoring our unique gifts and our purpose and our passions. Um, we have to, and this is a big one, we have to normalize that ordinary people, people like you and me, absolutely can be successful. That people like you and me, regular people, can make a great living doing what they love and staying in authenticity and staying in alignment and in integrity, and that it can feel good. We have to normalize that having a thriving business, that living our purpose feels good and can feel good. Um, okay, and then the last two are kind of uh, connected, but we have to normalize being willing to ask to be paid for the work we do. I work with a ton of people who have amazing gifts and are offering them, are putting them out there in the world in amazingly generous ways, but they're struggling. And if we struggle, we can't actually be powerfully present and powerfully supportive of others. So we have to normalize being paid for what we offer and being not only paid, but well paid for what we offer. And we have to normalize within ourselves the idea, the knowledge, the belief, the assurance that people will say yes to working with us for money, to be willing to pay us. Um, you know, the reason I bring this up is because obviously success is an inside job. I don't know a single person who has created outward success out there who hasn't first normalized all these things and adopted them as an inner reality for themselves. And a lot of us don't work that way. We kind of wait for life to show us that to believe it. And unfortunately, I have not found that that works, that life works that way. For me, what I found is that we first believe, we first own, we first claim these, we normalize them for ourselves in here, in our heart, and then suddenly life starts to agree with us. Life starts to show us all the ways that that is true and possible for us. And I even think, it's kind of that concept of when you decide that you're going to get a new car, you start seeing it everywhere around. I think it's that same way. It's not just even a mystical aspect that when we step up for ourselves, then life kind of meets us halfway and starts showing up in a way that is aligned with our new belief. Yes, that's true. But I actually think that our brain looks to confirm our existing beliefs. And so when we start to shift our beliefs, we literally start seeing opportunities or examples right out there in front of us that we would have literally missed, a week, 2 weeks, a month before, because now we have shifted who we are. And so we're literally seeing a new reality. We are training our brain to look for that new reality, to enter that new reality, to show up in life from that new reality. And at that point, life starts showing up as that new reality. All right, so now I'm going to give you 4 ways that you can start to shift and to normalize success before you even start seeing it out there. So, number 1, for me, the easiest way to normalize success, to normalize soulful success, is to actually surround yourself with people who are already successful. They're either successful literally, like in what they've created in their lives, but they're also successful internally. They have the right mindset, they have the right um, belief system, their heart is in the right place, and they essentially speak, feel, think, and live success. So you want to look for people like that. This is where being in a program or having friends and really paying attention to where you're spending your time and your energy and who you're hanging out with, and making sure that the people you're surrounding yourself are people who are essentially honoring the reality that you're trying to create. Because when you start really being around them, you will start to think like them, you will start to act like them, you will start to feel like them, and you will start to get, my dog is wanting attention, you will start to actually believe that if they can do it, so can you. So that's one. Number two, another way to help normalize success is to internally work with a part of you who believes all those scarcity uh, aspect of beliefs, and to look at all the places where you have normalized being stuck, struggling, or getting by with just enough, or not having what you want in your life. Like, where have you normalized those things? And connecting to the part of you who feels that way, connecting to the part of you. And that's the first step to this, is realizing that not all of you believes that. An aspect of you believes that, money is hard, or building a business is hard, that people won't pay for transformation, that people won't pay for what you have. In some ways, it's not all of you that believes that, it's an aspect of you. And so, as a therapist of 17 plus years, that's a lot of what I did with folks, is, helping them to really take a step back from the part of them that was struggling, that was in pain. And then the moment you do that, the moment you're able to see, oh, this is not all of me. This is something in me that's wounded, something in me that's hurt, something in me that's afraid. What happens is, when you're able to actually, you're not fully indulging it, you're not fully caught up in it, but you're also able to step out and help the part of you that is struggling. You're able to support the part of you that is struggling. You're able to send it love. You're able to validate its experience. You're able to even educate it. And I do that all the time. When I'm struggling with something, I'll be able to say, ooh, something in me is really afraid of this, or really struggling with this, or is really hurt by this. And I'll go and I'll just meet myself. I'll meet this, it's usually a small part that's been wounded, and I'll be with myself, and I'll have a conversation with that part in some ways, and show her how that's just one aspect of seeing life. I'll validate her feeling, I'll support her, but I will also educate her in how to move out of that. I will also start literally teaching this part that there might be other possibilities. And wouldn't these possibilities be nice? And wouldn't these possibilities change things? So you want to be able to send yourself loving compassion, and you want to be able to essentially not indulge in these beliefs and not advocate for your limitations in some ways, but start bringing the part of you that's struggling back into possibilities and back into expansion. Think of this part of you like a ball of twine. It's very tight. It's um, scared usually, and your job as a more enlightened being is to essentially help it to relax, to expand, and to see possibilities, so that you can move forward and start entering into a different reality. um, the last thing I will tell you about this is, I have found within myself and with my clients that connecting to an empowered future self can be very powerful in helping all these parts of us that are stuck and have normalized struggle to loosen up and to start considering success as a possibility. So I actually have a guided visualization to go meet your future successful self. If you want that, put successful self meditation in the comments, and I'll DM it. I'll DM it to you. Um, but yeah, you want to touch and connect with an aspect of yourself that is empowered, that is already in that normalized success reality, and be able to bring these two aspects of yourself, the part of you that's struggling and the part of you that's empowered, together, so that they can literally balance each other out and support each other in some ways. And normally the soulful, successful, empowered part of you will know exactly what to say and what to do to help this other part that is struggling, because this other part that's struggling is them. It's them in the past. And as a future self that has achieved success, you know within you how to get out of that. So that's number two, is doing all that inner work to essentially step out of that tight ball of, normalized struggle and enter into expansion and into possibilities. Number three is, and I think that that's really powerful for those who are willing to go there, is to start working with someone who actually believes in you more than you believe in yourself, and who sees your gift and who sees the path forward. Because oftentimes we have our own blind spots. And I'm sure you've experienced this with yourself, where you see, something that's going on in your friend's life and you see a path forward for them, but they can't see it for themselves. When we start working with someone who's either been there or actually really see their own, they really see your own genius in some ways, they'll be able to almost convince you that it's there. I do that all the time. Almost like 90% of the soulful success calls that I get on are people who say, okay, I feel like I could do this. I feel like I have something to offer, but I don't quite know how to do that. I don't quite know what that looks like. I don't quite know how to step forward or how to start. And I'll have a conversation with them. And just by talking to them, I'll literally see how they could do that. I'll literally see what's different about them, what their gifts are, what their juicy little bits and uniqueness is, and how that could serve the world. And half of the time I'm like, well, this is what I'm seeing for you. It's almost an intuitive gift that I have, where I'll say, you mentioned this, this, and this. How about, I feel like you could bring this to the world in this way. And a lot of the time people will be like, oh my God, I never thought of it that way. And I get excited because I see the potential in it. And I'll tell people like, oh, like you could do it this way, you could do it this way. I feel like people would benefit in that way. I absolutely feel that there's a way to move forward. And then suddenly it's like, because I'm believing in it, they start seeing it, they start believing in it. So that's number three here, is to start to work with someone who's going to see your gifts, who's going to see your uniqueness, who's going to see your passion and see how to move forward with it so that you can actually powerfully serve and start embodying and stepping into success. Um, Oftentimes too, this person, because they've been there themselves, and they end up also being a perfect guide on how to actually do that. They become a perfect example of somebody who's actually living to some degree in the normalization of success. And I think it's just kind of like that first one, surrounding ourselves with people who are successful. Working with someone who has done that for themselves shows us that it's possible. I was speaking to a colleague of mine. This was a little while back, and we were talking about this investment. She decided to work with someone, and it was a heavy duty investment. It was a 6 months coaching program for $15,000. And so, she was kind of in the midst of it, and I was asking her how it was going and if she was getting results out of it and if she was enjoying it and if she was, excited or happy she made the investment. And what she said to me was something along the lines of, you know what, she's great. I am getting value out of it. Absolutely. But what's been actually the most life-changing for me is that I look at this woman and I realize that she's great at what she does. She's an amazing human being, but she's just like me. She doesn't have, I think she actually used the word fairy dust. She doesn't have fairy dust. She doesn't poop rainbows. She doesn't have anything special that allow her to have the confidence to charge $15,000 to work with her for 6 months. And my friend was saying to me, my colleague was saying to me, like what that makes me feel is, if she can do it, so can I. So it's that concept of like when we work with people, we surround ourselves with people who are doing this, we start seeing that they're normal, seeing that they're regular, and believing that if they can do it, so can we. And that is extremely powerful, because there's one level of normalizing success, is seeing that success is here, seeing that success can be easy, that people are being successful. That's one level of it, and that's a necessary level. The next level is to believe that is all true for ourselves. And that is actually absolutely necessary. If you believe that success is available, but it's only available for others, you will keep yourself there. So we have to normalize that success, that being soulfully aligned with the work we love and creating inspiration and impact and financial independence and loving our life is not only feasible, but it's easily, effortlessly feasible for ourselves. Um, so that's the fourth one. Um, so that's my invitation to you guys, is to normalize success, normalize ease, normalize effortlessness, normalize abundance, normalize the ordinariness of it, and to start looking for it everywhere. To really start putting your brain, actually, no, that's number four. Number four is normalize massive success by looking for it. Normalize ease, normalize abundance by looking for it. Look for stories of it. See it on the news. Notice when your friends are talking about, like a success that they've had. In my group, every week I have a celebrate your wins post where at the end of the week I ask people to celebrate some kind of win, because I think that it's extremely important to realize that winning happens all the time and it happens everywhere. So we have to normalize and train our brain, just like when you decide you're going to get a new car, you start seeing the car everywhere, is literally normalize our brain to get comfortable with success, with ease, with abundance, with effortlessness, not only to look for it in our own life. This is where a gratitude practice, for example, works really well. So not only to normalize it in our own lives, but also to normalize it by seeing it everywhere else and seeing it with all sorts of people in all sorts of ways. All right. I think this is it. When you start to really sense that this is possible for you and normalize soulful success for you inwardly, then you absolutely start seeing it out there. You absolutely will start seeing your life respond in part. Your life will literally start providing that capacity. Clients will show up, friends will show up and say, "Oh, I didn't," and want to work with you. Um, you will get clarity, like ideas, creativity will actually show up in ways that you can fully step into your purpose, in ways that you can fully serve, and ways that you can easily create income for yourself or create a life that feels really exciting. It has to come inside. The normalization of that will absolutely start creating the external reality of that. It, I feel like it's almost a law. Like that's just a way. I've never known anybody to have the opposite effect. I think a fluke can happen where somebody who really doesn't believe that success is possible for them, like, they win the lottery. But what happens, as we've seen, as research has shown, is somebody who wins the lottery, who hasn't normalized success, who doesn't believe it's for them, they'll be more broke than they were prior to winning the lottery within a few months or a few years. So we have to really engage and normalize what we want within ourselves. And at that point, not only does our brain start creating it for us and start seeing it for us, but I do think that life does respond to us. This concept of God helps those who help themselves. I think it's a cliche. I think it's an idea. It's a statement that all of us know because there's some truth to that. Life will respond. Life is a mirror. It will respond to what you put out, both what you put out internally and what you put out in action. When you start to normalize success within you as a possibility, not only as a possibility, but as a decision for yourself, not only will you start seeing it everywhere, but you will start acting in a way that actually creates the outcome, the results you want. So, the change starts with you. Wherever you look at your life and it's not quite going the way you want it to go, you want to ask yourself, In what way am I normalizing struggle right now? In what way am I normalizing staying stuck? In what way am I normalizing not living my purpose, not sharing my gifts? And start figuring out what's the thought in there that's actually keeping you there and making that into a firm reality, and start normalizing its opposite. Start looking for its opposite, start acting for it, acting in a way that is opposite to that, and normalize the success or the result, the change that you want to see first in here and in action, and then you will see it. You will absolutely create it. Um, Let me see if I have comments. This is the thing with StreamYard. I can't see comments. I have a few comments from Sharon. Successful self. Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Sharon. I'm seeing people from my group post too. Unfortunately, it's this Facebook user. I can't actually, I don't actually know who that is. But yeah, this is somebody saying this is exactly the reminder of success that I was ready for today. I'm really glad that that helped. And for those of you who are ready to kind of move forward, who are ready to normalize success, to step into a reality of creating your dreams, of activating and actualizing your gifts and your purpose, then I'd love to work with you. I'd love to get on a free call. And what I do in these free calls, they're essentially an hour long, and I work with you to figure out where you're stuck, what's not working for you, and what you might need to shift to get the clarity and the confidence to actually start really stepping into the life you know is waiting for you. A lot of my clients know they're meant for more, know that there's something they're meant to do, and they're kind of holding themselves back, keeping themselves small, hiding out in some ways. So in these soulful success breakthrough sessions, I go through that with you. We brainstorm so that we can figure out where you're stuck and what's your next step and what soulful success actually looks like for you. Not for me, not for someone else, for you. So if that sounds interesting and you would like to take me up on that, just put "let's brainstorm" in the comments, or send me a DM and I will get back to you either way. And then if you're watching this later, put a little hashtag replay and say hi to me so that I know that you saw that. And for those of you who have been here watching all along, I've seen a few, there's been a few of you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for still being here. I'm wishing you amazing success and the normalization of success in your life. May you have exactly what you want for and wish for. People need you to actually do that so that you can serve them and serve the world and share your gifts powerfully. All right, that is it for me. I will talk to you all soon, and I am sending you love.